Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. Hang out with this nerd.
Nerdarchy's dead.
And today we're going to delve back into Eberron with why 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons needs it. And today we're talking about threats.
Jump down the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy, the newsletter, get weekly gaming tips, as well as learn how to game with us.
So here we go, back into Eberron and why 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons need it.
And today we're going to get into the preconceived villains or the threats that are out there ready to go so that you don't even have to do any extra work in your campaign prep.
Yeah, there is a ton, and we've just got like 5 of them to mention today. We're not going to go too deeply into them. Maybe later on we can go into individual videos on them. You have the Lords of Dusk, and basically in the bygone ages, the dragons and the cultos of Zendrick rose up and defeated an incursion from the Rajas of Rahaskas. Is that how you say that? Rakshasas. Yes. So, but their generals, the remnants of those are called the Lords of Dust. So they're still out there. They're still plotting. They're still scheming.
Nice.
So you have that. Plenty of intrigue. You can go with that as well.
So next we can move on to the Chamber, and this is an organization of dragons. Yep, you heard me correct. There's dragons that are going to go out and plot and try to manipulate the events that are going on. Most of the time, it's through puppetry. So in last week's video, we talked about, espionage games inside of Zalargo. Well, now we can add another layer of espionage because there could be the puppet masters of the chamber who are trying to guide things the way that they want it to go. And
it's kind of worse than that too, because I believe they call it like the Great Game or something, right? The game where they're actually competing against each other to do things. So to that, it is serious, but to them, it's also like you're pawns on the board and you mean nothing.
Well, and it's only made up of 100 dragons, and no one really knows who it is. No one ever talks about it. So, like, the term "the chamber" is a meaningless thing. No one's going to associate it with anything. And even if you manage to stumble across it, who are you going to tell?
It's like being a ninja. A real ninja would never admit to being a ninja.
So
yeah.
So some of these dragons will actually go one step further from just manipulating others, through proxies and whatever have you, or they will actually use their magical abilities to take on the guise of a mortal and go in and directly manipulate things. But that's only when things are going badly for their side, or things are moving faster than they want, and they want to manipulate it just right.
Then you also have the Daelkyr, right? Or Daelkyr. I'm probably butchering that a little bit, but essentially they're basically like demon lords from the realms of madness, from Zuriat. At one point, they invaded this world. They brought mind flayers, beholders, anything creepy and crawly. They brought it with them. They controlled it. Beholders in Eberron, for them, were a little bit different. They actually used them as living artillery. The mind flayers, Ilthids, were their generals. There's Dogknots and Dahlgrims. All of these follow these guys. And there's like 6 of them they know of that are trapped on this plane. The Druid organization, the gatekeepers, are the ones that actually repelled them and are locking them away and keeping them from directly influencing Eberron. But they're still indirectly influencing, and they're always trying to escape. And they want to bring the plane of Zariat and the plane and Eberron and get them to be contemonious, is how it's said. So it's it's a celestial thing that they have to align, so that then they can go back to waging their war on this world. And they're also like these weird, beautiful humans, very athletic. They all look male, but even though they're genderless, they don't reproduce. They're into art and poetry and music and stuff like that, but it's going to be on the creepy side. Their preferred medium to work in when it comes to art is flesh. So, like, a lot of those weird things that are out there, they weren't weird to begin with. They created them, and they consider that art.
That's the good stuff.
Yeah, so you guys don't want these guys getting loose. So if, the Rashashkas running around wasn't bad enough, regular demons in the demon waste, you have those as well running around, isn't bad enough. Well, now you have let's add a far realm type plane and give them their own demon lords as well.
Because, you can't have enough demon lords.
Never.
All right, so next we move on to the Emerald Claw. And these guys started off as like, we're good guys, we're heroes. There was a war going on, and things were not going well for Karnath. And the Emerald Claw...
Not a war, the war.
The war. And the Emerald Claw stepped in, and they're like, we can help. And, once things settled down and people realized what the Emerald Claw was really about, it's like, whoa, this is not cool. And they had to put a stop to it. Actually, they banished them outside of Karnath, and they've been fractured into essentially terrorist cells. So now it's more of a, these guys operate in secrecy, in tight-knit cells, and these are the kind of people who will absolutely throw their lives away for their mission, for their order. Their symbol is this cool green
Emerald Claw, perhaps?
Emerald Claw, but it looks like it's made of flame. So, like, I think it looks pretty darn awesome. But, like, it's not like you're going to see it emblazoned all over the place because it's a secret organization. They're not gonna show themselves until they're actually, moving about in their plans.
So, and they also, like, their tactics were like guerrilla warfare and more of terrorist type tactics, even when they were working for Karnath.
Right.
So, they are a bit they've always been kind of disreputable. Disreputable, that word. So, and then that brings us to also one of my favorites, probably, threats in Eberron is the Dreaming Dark.
Now, we talked in a previous video about the Kalishtar, and the Kalishtar want to bring the world into the next age of peace and serenity, and all will be well. The Dreaming Dark, they want to keep the nightmares going, because if it moves to the next age, the age of peace, then, their side of the quarry, they're going to get wiped out.
Yeah, you have the Dreaming Dark side, which is like most of the quarry, because they basically were winning the war. They drove out the good quarry, and those ones kind of like bonded with the Kalishtar, and they've moved on that way. Well, once they realized they could do that, the Dreaming Dark, they've begun doing the same thing with the Inspired, except for there's a lot more of them. So there's a lot more, and you don't want to see the cycle turn, because then it's believed that their time will end and they will lose the war. Where, conversely, the Kalishtar want to see that happen. So the Dreaming Dark is always moving against the Kalishtar and their allies, and they're always trying to manipulate nations and get people, on board with what they're doing. So also, like, this is where your more psionic threats are going to come from in Eberron as well.
So here is where you can move into yet another part where, like, an espionage-esque could happen, where you could get more into Eldritch Horror-esque kind of things. Combine those two together, we got a pretty good campaign theme there, and that's just this one section of the Dreaming Dark.
Well, also dreamwalking, like, this is where you could probably do some of that as well. And also to kind of like further what are quarry, basically think dream demons is how dream demons and dream angels is how I would kind of define them. That being said, there are no dream angels left, because the only way they could survive was fleeing, so they survive on through the Kalishtar. So now that really just leaves us with the dream demons, and they look pretty badass as well.
Indeed. So there you have 5 distinct threats that are already present, already ready to just lift up and put into a campaign. So the question is, what are you doing to get Eberron into 5th edition? Do you convert? Do you play? Continue the conversation down below in the comments. While you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
You can check us out over on Facebook.
So until next time, stay nerdy.